What's up, everybody? All right, so today we're talking about this whole thing that everything that's been happening with with this Netflix that they pretty much turned down WB, and they don't really want to buy them just because of how everything is going on and stuff like that. What up, Jack? Appreciate you for tuning in, for watching. Also, we're gonna be talking about this thing with everything that has to do with this thing that's floating around the internet, and everybody's right now just pretty much speculating, but it's kind of obvious on what's going on. Let's see, Edward, what's up? Demencio, what's up? Yes, sir. You already know. Restore Snyderverse. Sean, what's up? Yeah, you already know. That's what we're still fighting for. So it's all it's interesting to see how all these things are happening and how things are slowly developing. But it's no surprise that Netflix straight up turned down WB just because of the headache that they are right now in the sense of financially. Pride Tune, what's up? I am not surprised. I am not surprised. Yeah, I agree with you. WB is just like Disney right now. They're on some bull crap right now. And David Zaslav, I'm telling you, he's running out of options. I've been telling y'all this is what's happening. Look at what's happening. Netflix is not interested in buying WB. The whole thing, they don't want it, and it's not a priority for them right now. They're focused on what they're doing and trying to better their company. And that's understandable. That's what WB should have been doing for a long time. But instead, they've dropped the ball, and it's literally where they're at right now. So, Comics of Tomorrow, what's up? Yes, sir. You already know Restore Snyderverse. Is it bad news? Dan, Restore Snyderverse. Let's look at it. I want to break this down. I want to analyze this because a lot of people are literally jumping to conclusions, and we have to talk about this in the business side. All right, so today I mainly want to focus on the business aspect of restoring the Snyderverse and what could come from all of this. This is not bad news, this is actually good news. All right, Paramount might buy DC, WB. They might. Bradley, what's up? Jeremy, what's up? All right, so look, check this out. For Netflix to turn down WB, it's not that they don't want them. All right, we know that they want them, but the thing is that WB is too much of a. They have too much. How do you say, baggage? They have too much baggage, and financially they are a mess. This is why Paramount was lowballing them, because if you're gonna buy WB, you're buying the baggage, meaning that you have to buy all that debt that they're in, and it's really really bad for them. David Zaslav turned them down because he felt that it wasn't enough. So I understand that business point, but at the same time, you have to look at it from a business point. Would you buy something that you know you're going to have to invest much more in it than what you think you're going to get from it? Eventually you'll get it, but you want money to come in fast, not to take a long time. And these businesses and these companies and these corporations are like that. Netflix is about money. Their shares are high. If they absorb the debt from WB, that's going to bring them down a lot. Like a lot. I'm talking about, like, that's going to hurt them a lot, and they can't take that risk. It's too risky. It's way too risky right now. And Paramount, I'm sure they're going to come up with another number. They want it. They want to buy all of Warner Brothers, all of it, not just the TV side or the news stations. No, they want everything. They want to come after everything. Comcast is another one too. Comcast wants them also. And like when you have, like, I shared that video from NBC talking about, their parent company, meaning I think it's Comcast, which is Universal. Look, a lot of things are going to be coming from this. I think in the end it's going to come down to Comcast and Universal. We have to see both sides, who would be the better fit. But at this point, it's whoever has the money and whoever's willing to invest and spend that money. Because, real talk, no company is going to financially get into debt more than what they're going to try to, like, make money off of and stuff like that. So it's understandable. We have to look at it from the business side, in the sense of, well, I can't blame Netflix for turning them down, because Netflix, they want to keep their stocks high. They want to keep the shareholders happy. That's their main goal. That's what they said. And that's what now David Zaslav is trying to do. But it's too late. It's too late for David Zaslav. Before James Gunn came on board, you all remember we were all saying it. You need to restore the Snyderverse. And I remember I was saying it. I was like, if you guys don't restore the Snyderverse, you're gonna get pushed to this situation where we are right now. And we're talking about over 2 years and a half of this. And this nonsense has finally caught up to this company. Unfortunately, WB has been putting out a lot of bad, you know, content. Video games. Look at how bad the Suicide Squad did. Movies, how that's doing bad. TV shows. Like everything is bad. Everything is bad with WB right now, and like when you look at this realistically, I think if David Zaslav does not take any offer, it's gonna come down to like how a lot of people are speculating and saying DC is gonna become like Marvel back in the 90s. They're gonna sell a lot of assets and they're gonna have to part away with a lot of things just to stay afloat. And if David Zaslav doesn't take these offers, it's heading down that way. Unfortunately, that's what I see it's gonna happen because Netflix turning down WB and saying, look, we're not interested in that right now. We're focused on our content. And that's how it should be. Because, you know, when it comes to M and A, you might be like, what's M and A? M&A. That's merger and acquisitions, right? If you have Netflix that's trying to merge and buy out companies to acquire them and stuff like that. You have to understand. I'm talking to you now as a business person. I'm not talking to y'all as a fan and as a customer. I'm talking to you as a business person, right? If I'm going to invest in a company, why the hell would I invest in a company knowing that if I acquire this company or we merge it with it, whatever the hell it is going to cost me more than what I'm going to try to make on it. I know in the long run, it'll come back and I'll make much more money, but I want that money now, not later, now, because money talks, real talk. And, in the long term investment, you want that money to come in ASAP. Yes, WB has all these IPs, but you have to remember their debt is what's hurting this company. That's what's hurting WB, their debt. Because, like I told you, when you have Barbie doing all these movies making $1 billion and it's still not saving you, that's telling you financially, like this is the mess is pretty deep. The only way that anything can happen, looking at it realistically now, is you can clearly see that David Zaslav wants to get rid of Warner Brothers. He doesn't care anymore. He just doesn't. So he knows that the ship is sinking, and we talked about this a while ago. He's ready to jump ship and just take the most highest offer. But realistically, his options are running out because Netflix is like, nah, hell no, we're not gonna gamble that. And it's smart. It's smart. I'm happy that Netflix actually said no, no, we're not gonna invest and we're not going to buy out Warner Brothers because it's too much. It's too much. Realistically, financially, you're gonna ruin your company. And they don't want that. That's how you go about it professionally. That's a business aspect that we're looking at it. When you have Paramount that's willing to put out $60 billion, David Zaslav, you should have took that offer and said peace out and ride out. That's it. You should have, but you screwed up because now you turned them down. All right. Don't think that their next counter offer is going to be higher than that. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it because now people are starting to see, and people in Wall Street and they're seeing the numbers. They're like, yo, but WB, they're more the negative than they are in the positive, and that's not good for business because then again it's going to force the company to start cutting down and reducing certain things just to try to make some money and try to sell off. Now, we don't know what Comcast is willing to spend. We already know that David Zaslav turned down $60 billion. Now it's up to Comcast to flip that and say, hey, we're willing to spend more. I personally, I'm telling you, this is just me speaking. I think that in the end, Comcast low key will acquire them. I'm telling you, this is not coincidence. Think about what I've been telling y'all about that rumor that's floating around. And remember, in January, literally in 3 months from now, all right, we're getting closer. Comcast comes into play already with HBO Max. Why would that be happening? Why? And we already know that Comcast wants to own everything when it comes from WB. They already have a streaming service, but they're so greedy they also want HBO Max. They want to merge everything into one big brand. I applaud that. That's how you do it. You want to go big, go big. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna play with the big boys, you gotta come with the big money, straight up. And Comcast has that money. Comcast slash Universal has that money. They have more money than Paramount. Real talk. Real talk. I spoke about that not long ago. And Comcast has a lot of money and they get a lot of ways of bringing in money. They got their streaming service, they have a theatrical release, they have physical media, they have the theme parks for Universal. Let's not forget that. Universal, you have in Orlando, Florida, and in California. So those are big, big monster, theme parks. They're so big, they're bigger than Disney. So that's telling you these people are generating money. Like it's nuts just to think about that. In the long run, what I think is going to happen is that if David Zaslav doesn't pull his head out of his ass, he's going to lose everything. He's going to lose everything. And these shareholders and these investors, they're trying to get rid of him so he doesn't have a say, a word in what happens in the end. They could do that. If they all want to be on the board and pretty much team up against him, they can outnumber him straight up. They can do it. You remember seeing in the Dark Knight when you had the board, the team or whatever, when Bruce is away for all these years and then he comes back to the company, and then that dude tells him, "Oh, but you're no longer part of the company." He's like, "Oh, I invested in all these stocks and I bought all the stocks, so technically I own the company." He did it well done. That's what I think is going to happen in this situation. It's not a coincidence that Comcast is coming into play. And looking at it, if we start just speculating and aligning the things, I think it makes more sense that Comcast acquires overall Warner Brothers, not just, the movie division. No, they want everything of Warner Brothers. And it would make sense. If they end up doing that, they can crush it and they can fully dominate the streaming service. They can outdo Netflix and they can outdo also Disney. And that's what I think they're trying to do. They're trying to build something even massive. Comcast doesn't play around. Comcast is all about money and it's all about business. When it all comes down to it, in the end, it's all about how much they're willing to spend. And I have a feeling, me personally, that Comcast is not going to play around. They are going to throw high numbers. That it's gonna be so high that in the end, I think Paramount's gonna be like, nah, we can't compete against that. And I think that's what's going to happen in the end. I don't know why, but just something tells me that Comcast is low key going to buy them out fully. And I think Comcast in the end is going to end up winning this whole, takeover, if you want to say. And I applaud that. I want to say, hell yeah, I'm for it. I'm glad that Netflix is turning it down. And I know a lot of people online have been saying they don't want Netflix to get them because we already know how Netflix works. And low key, Netflix likes to swing both ways. You get what I'm saying? They like to please everybody, but at the same time, they'll throw some agenda and woke stuff in there just because it's Netflix. Let's not forget, all right? I was one that I'm like, yo, I don't really want Netflix to get them, but if it happens, so be it. But I think with the way that everything is going, and I'm seeing it, I think in the end, the solution to all of this, meaning for the business, the shareholders, the investors, for Warner Brothers, for David Zaslav, overall, everything, and for the fans, the customers, consumers worldwide, would be Comcast acquires them because Comcast has their act together. Comcast doesn't have debts like WB. Comcast hasn't merged with nobody. Comcast owns a lot in this industry. They really do. And they actually care. They care about the consumer in the sense of they are going to put a movie, they know that it's going to bring back money. And it's proven. You know how? The Jurassic World franchise. Look at the Jurassic World franchise. That makes money. It makes money. Let's be real. Say what you want about it. That franchise makes money. And they're already working on the next one, right? And it works for them. That's just one IP, all right? That's just one. The Fast and the Furious saga. That makes money. How many movies do they have now? Like going to the 11th movie, they can continue it. They can do so much from it, all right? Those are just two IPs that brings in money. They have the theme parks that brings in money. They own the rights to the Hulk. They have money because whenever Disney wants to make a movie and they want to bring in the Hulk, remember they're preparing for Doomsday, And Spider-Man Brand New Day is gonna have the Hulk. Don't think that Universal's not making money off of Disney. Oh hell yeah, they are. They're making money off of Disney. Because okay, you want to have the Hulk in your cinematic universe, it's gonna cost you this much. Well played. Well played. And you know damn well Disney will never own Comcast. They'll never buy Universal. They can't get to that level. They just can't. So they're stuck. They lost the Hulk forever. Honestly, they lost the Hulk forever. Universal owns the rights. They're not going to let that go. They're milking it with the theme park. So when Disney wants to, hey, we want to make a movie, we're going to make Secret Wars and we need the Hulk. Guess what? Sign that check. You got to sign that check straight up. So they have to pay for the Hulk to be in their next movie. See what I'm saying? That's how you do it. That's how you got to do it. It's like real estate, you know? And Comcast actually cares in the sense of, yo, we want to keep the directors, we want to keep everybody happy. Christopher Nolan walked out of WB to go over to Comcast, which is Universal, and Universal's treating him good. He's he's being treated good. So let's look at the big picture. Universal, who's there? Christopher Nolan. Who brought in Zack Snyder for the DCEU with Man of Steel? Christopher Nolan. You don't think that Christopher Nolan has spoken to the executives and to the people in power at Comcast and Universal and said, hey, look, if you do end up acquiring it, just to let you know, there's still a huge fan demand. People want Justice League 2 and 3. You know, it was a global phenomenon. I'm sure you guys are aware of it. I'm sure they're like, yeah, we're aware of it. And we want to also do stuff with that. And notice how James Gunn now is not making fun of the Snyder fans. What is that telling you? Finally, that James Gunn has understood that this is serious. This is not a joke. All the James Gunn cultists are silent and quiet right now. They are not saying anything. You have John Campia, you have all these shield channels finally admitting and saying, hey, yeah, it looks like James Gunn is coming to an end at DC. James Gunn did all of a sudden an interview with I don't remember, I think it's Boba Talks or some shit like that. Whatever. And he was asked about, you know, what's going on with Darkseid and what plans does he have for the future. And James Gunn straight up, he was like, now he wants to give credit to Zack Snyder. And he goes, yeah, we're not going to do anything with Darkseid because of what Zack Snyder already created in his universe within the Justice League. You're finally acknowledging. Yet, this is the clown that decided to retcon Peacemaker and the ending, right? This is the same clown that said, no, we're not going to move forward with it. This is the same clown that's the CEO of DC Studios currently. And this is the same clown that keeps insulting the fans, the customers, the consumers worldwide, calling us insults, disrespecting us, mocking us, even on the show, showing that he doesn't like us. And oh, they're a minority. Oh, really? Really? We are the minority? Okay, James Gunn. What about that clown also that's with him? The big dude, Steve A.G., whatever his name is. How's that boycott going? Oh, funny that you said how that boycott is going, because by us keeping our wallets closed and locked, and we keep on showing you and pressuring you that the Snyderverse is still going strong, guess what? You're about to go up for sale. What is that telling you? That whatever we're doing is working. You have all these James Gunn trolls coming out, and now they're not saying a word because they can't accept the reality. And the reality is that they know that their DCU has come to an end. It is. Their DCU with James Gunn has come to an end. James Gunn can't say anything else, and he's nervous when you're hearing that interview. He's even saying it. Everything is uncertain right now. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. His face says everything. He's stressed out. He's just trying not to show it. He knows that his days as DC Studios CEO is over. The James Gunn cultists know that we've won this war already. We told you we are the majority. You should have included us, and you should have had us on your good side. Instead, you decided to exclude us. You decided to keep away from us and to insult us. And for that, you're literally completely paying the price at Wall Street. Your stocks, your movies, your sales, your merchandise, everything is going downhill. And it's not working. It's not working. They know that there is still a demand. Why? All right. Let's just also speculate. Why? Why would Netflix France post up and still join into the fight saying, hey, we know that there's a fan demand. Let's just jump in it for the hell of it. All right, cool. Let's go. Henry Cavill Superman versus The Rock Black Adam. Yo, why would that just be coming out of the blue? Because they're making noise in this industry. They're also saying, hey, we know that this is what the fans want. Now, in the end, when you have the CEO, I think it's the co-CEO coming out today, talking and saying, hey, we're not really interested at the moment in buying WB. They do want to buy some parts of it, like the movie divisions and stuff like that. But that's pretty much small compared to what Comcast wants. Comcast wants all of Warner Brothers. They want the whole damn thing. They don't want a piece of the pie. They want the whole pie. Straight up. They want the whole pie. And Netflix just wants a slice of it just because they want to, milk certain IPs and stuff like that. They need to seriously, make this next counter offer, and we have to see what's going to come from it, because with the way that it's going, I'm telling you right now, this is kind of a concerning, but at the same time in a good way, not in a bad way. I know some people are gonna be, oh, that's bad, this and that. No, it's not. It's just for now. They're just doing it business wise, and it's understandable. Whoever buys a gun and Sapphire are not coming with, exactly. They're not gonna be there. This is our best shot right here, right now. Exactly, I agree with you, House of L. I completely agree with you. This is our moment. This is our moment, and it's happening. It's happening. This is why, like I said, why the hell? Let's be real. And you know that I've been telling y'all this. Why the hell would Comcast, when they had a meeting with the executives of HBO Max, not WB, HBO Max, they're different executives. Remember that, all right? Why the hell would they say, hey, what's up with Zack Snyder and David Ayer? Why? What's up? We want to do alternative DC content exclusive for HBO Max. Yo, that sounds like they're trying to restore something. To me, that sounds like they're trying to repair and trying to fix something. And in the end, that sounds like they're trying to make money. That's what I see. They're trying to make some money. That's how I'm seeing it. If you're not looking at it from that aspect, you're not looking at it from a business standpoint. You have to look at it from a business standpoint besides the fan base right now. I'm like, yo, it would make sense. Imagine that. Comcast wants to merge Peacock, their streaming service, with HBO Max. You imagine what could come from that? A lot of things. A lot of things, a lot of shows, a lot of movies, a lot of content. That's all that matters. A lot of content. And as we keep on moving forward into the future, don't think that Comcast isn't aware of the streaming service. Of course, that's where they're going to be working and helping out, probably repairing things over there at with HBO Max, because they know that that's the future. Streaming is going to be here forever, period. It's just like AI. We're not going to get rid of it. It's unfortunate, but that's just what the future is. Unfortunately, anybody's against that, I don't know what to tell you. We're in the year 2025, about to be 2026. That's what it is. Everybody's using it, and to anybody that says, no, I'm not down with it, yo, straight out, that's BS, because you use it on your phone, you use it on your PlayStation, you probably use it on your Xbox, you probably use it at school, you probably use it at work. It's just what it is. If you don't believe me, when you're typing the text, probably it's already telling you what you're trying to type. That's AI. See what I'm saying? So it's there. It's just how you want to use it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm sick and tired of hearing excuses of people saying, oh, but that's not what I want. Neither do I, but that's just the future. That's what it is. Nobody's going to change it. But at the same time, Comcast, not only with the streaming, they're also focused with physical media. Netflix doesn't care about physical media. Let's be real. Let's be real. Netflix doesn't care about physical media. They just don't. They only want to capitalize, make money, and force you into a streaming service. Meanwhile, Comcast is like, yo, you like that movie? We got you. Give us a few months and we're going to put it out on streaming, and we're going to also put it out on physical. You're going to have to pay a little bit more, but at least you can actually have a physical copy of it. All right? Paramount, the same thing. They're down with that. They also have a streaming service. But now we're talking about who's the high roller. Comcast has more money than Paramount Skydance. Let's be real. Can something be cooking up with this? There could be. It could be a possibility. I'm starting to think that that's what's going to end up happening in the end. And David Zaslav is waiting for these bids to go up higher. But there's so much that it can go high that they're going to be like, you know what? Yeah, yeah, we can't invest way too much than this, because then, our return isn't going to add up. These numbers are not going to make sense. So they're going to be like, look, in the long run, what we need to do is give them the most that we can, where it's going to benefit us in the long run, and we're going to make and get out of this debt ASAP. Because once they start putting movies, I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, whoever it is, let's just speculate and let's just say, okay, let's take away Netflix out of the picture, because they already just said recently today, no. All right, that's out. We already know that Paramount wants it, but David Zaslav turned it down. So they're out right now. That's just for now until they make a counter offer. Okay. We're waiting for Comcast to say how much they're willing to put and to make an offer. And just like that, don't be surprised. We're going to see some other people also in this industry saying, hey, we also want to bid on it. But in the end, I think, this is me personally, it would make more sense business wise with Comcast, just because one, yes, streaming, two, physical media, three, they could put much more on their streaming service. You imagine that? They can do so much more. They can go ahead and release, check it. They could do the following. They can do, just for the hell of it, with the DCIP, put out, like many of us have said, do Man of Steel, right? You put it out for exclusive for a weekend, for like a Superman day or something like that, whatever. Then you got Batman Day. Go ahead and put Batman versus Superman along with whatever else they want to put. And then put Zack Snyder's Justice League, finally a theatrical run, so they can see how many people are going to go out willing to spend. And then on that, they can announce and say, hey, look, we're going to do more with Zack Snyder for alternative DC content, whatever the hell they want to call it. And then they announce that coming to HBO Max. This is me just saying. This is just them. Hey, we're announcing Ben Affleck's Batman movie. All right, cool. We're announcing Man of Steel 2. Boom, perfect. All right, cool. What else is this going to lead? With spin-off shows or something. And then those main movies, put those as theatrical runs. Man of Steel 2, exclusive on IMAX. I don't know, just something like that. And then, of course, we're going to do, just because we know that the fans want it and where things left off, we're bringing in The Rock, and we're going to do Black Adam 2. Boom, perfect. All right, let's go. Let's go. That's all I care about, as long as, we get to see them and stuff. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. We're going to end up doing Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. Oh, what? Okay, boom. Stocks are going to go even higher, all that good stuff. And then on top of that, we're also doing Zack Snyder's Justice League 3. Boom. Oh, what? I guarantee you those are billion-dollar properties already. Just those movies. That's what, like 4? And then on top of that, they can also announce, well, since we know that there's a huge demand, we also want to include, we're releasing the Ayer cut. Boom, that's it, exclusive on HBO Max. What? That's it. That's all making money for them. Bringing in subscribers, everybody's coming, everybody's happy, they're making money, we're getting content. That's all that matters. And then from there, more things can open. Much more possibilities can come from all this, And don't think that Comcast isn't aware of it. They know, and they got the money. The question is, how much are they willing to spend and invest on, putting content within the DCEU? And, how much are they willing to put to offer to buy WB? And we know that David Zaslav wants a lot. And I get it. It's understandable. He's trying to get the most for his money and stuff like that. But he needs to hurry up. He needs to hurry up in the sense of this next offer, yo, take it. Take it. You already see that Netflix is like, nah, we're not going to invest in that. Why would they? It makes sense. It makes sense. Netflix just pulled a right smart move today by backing out and saying, nah, we don't want to deal with that because you're going to cost us too much. You're more of a liability financially than what you're going to bring us back for what we're going to spend. It's a risk way too high that we're not willing to take at the moment. And that's understandable. I applaud that for Netflix. Anyways, Netflix doesn't need WB. They're eating and they're cooking. That's it. They are. They're making money. Their stocks are extremely high. Their stocks are so high, like it's nuts. They're in the thousands. And Disney's not nowhere near that. Comcast is not near that. Paramount is not near that. What is that telling you? They're good. They're doing good. Whatever it is that they're doing, it's working for them. Lovely. Okay, we can get that already out the picture. We don't have to talk about that. Paramount, Skydance, we know that David Zaslav turned them down. It doesn't mean that they're not going to come back with a counteroffer. They are. They're probably preparing that right now and saying, okay, he turned down 60 billion. Let's turn it up a bit, but let's not go over budget because then it's going to cost us. And we're trying to, balance it, with the stocks and the shares where technically everything's going to come back on what we're going to spend. If we're going to spend, like, let's say X amount of money, we want that to come back, and the stocks is going to pay itself off, and all that stuff when it comes to numbers and things like that. All right, while that's being sorted, look at Comcast. Comcast is right now quiet. Comcast is just watching, they're listening, they're observing, and they're looking at, okay, this is making money, this is not making money. Don't think that Comcast isn't aware that what happened with James Gunn and everything with season 2 of Peacemaker and Creature Commandos, their streaming service. Don't think they don't know about those numbers. They do. They do. Don't think that they don't know about the Batman with Matt Reeves, that why is it taking so long, yet people are still asking for Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder. And don't think that they're not looking at the post that Zack just posted. Like, hey, how come a picture from Zack Snyder is generating so much attention, but James Gunn barely got half of that attention? See what I'm saying? So they know what's up. It's just it's in the end is all about how much are you willing to invest, how much are you willing to spend, and for David Zaslav, how much is it going to take for you to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to take this number because I know I'm never going to see this high number again. Overall, I think what he needs to do is just sell it, call it a day, give us what we want, meaning everybody, not just within the Snyder community, everybody. Like more movies, more content, put it on streaming, put it on theatrical release, and just milk it. Just milk it. That's the only way that I really see all of this working. In the end, that's what they're trying to sort. They're just trying to build something that's going to benefit them as the company, but it's also going to benefit us as the consumers because we're like, damn, we're watching it, we're paying for it. Give us good content. That's it. And for them to specifically request David Ayer and Zack Snyder, yeah, what's going on, really? And for Zach to be posting these pictures, I'm sure Zach knows something. He just can't say it, obviously. But I'm sure that they've all had talks. I'm sure that they've all had meetings. They're probably still having meetings, and they're just looking at, all right, what's gonna work in the end. Negotiations. Everything is about negotiations. They're all like, okay, how much is it gonna take? Are you gonna be happy with this with this number? Money wise. Okay, we should increase it more. Okay, but is it gonna cost us more? We have to all be on the same page when it comes to these numbers. Everybody has to be happy, and probably some are like, nah, that's too little, that's too much, or it's whatever. That's what happens sometimes. So they're outweighing the positive and the negative. Right? Netflix already weighed it out. It's obvious. The co-CEO that came out today, he was like, "Yeah, we're not focused on that right now." In other words, he's like, "That's not our concern. We're focused on what we're doing and how we're going to develop our company much more than where we are right now because we're trying to keep our shareholders and our investors happy." I applaud that and I respect that from Netflix. That is how you go about it, professional and business wise. That's what WB David Zaslav should have been doing. He should have been like, you know what? We have all these investors that believe in us and they're willing to spend all this money. But instead, you've been burning bridges and you've been burning these investors and all of these shareholders because for years, this hasn't been overnight. This has been for years already, all right? Well, like probably like 4 or 5 years almost that they've been screwing over these investors. And these investors are getting tired because they're not getting back their money. They're losing money. It's to a certain point where you're going to have eventually everybody say, you know what? I'm done. I can't invest anymore because it's costing me more than what's coming back. Yeah, I have money coming back, but I was promised this and I was promised that. You could imagine the lies that James Gunn must have been saying and telling David Zaslav. Oh, come on, we're going to get away from the Snyderverse. We're going to put an end to that. We're going to reboot. We're going to recast Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck. We're going to go with, what I know is going to work. Oh, I made Guardians of the Galaxy. So freaking what? That didn't do nothing. Joss Whedon did the first Avengers and it made $1 billion. And what did that do to WB? It did the opposite. It cost them money. But that was WB's fault, not Zack Snyder's fault. That was WB's fault for being greedy and trying to do the Marvel formula. But they keep on trying with the Marvel formula and then it's not working. We already see it with James Gunn. They're not making money. They haven't been making money and they will never make money. And now you're seeing James Gunn staying quiet and he's acknowledging the Snyderverse. Oh, we're not going to touch Darkseid. We're not going to do anything with him because Zack already built something amazing and we're just going to do something else. Oh, now you want to do something else, huh? Now you want to do something else because you see that shit got real now, right? Now that you see that it got real, now you want to acknowledge and say, yeah, Zack Snyder finally created something, right? Now you want to acknowledge him, huh? It's too late for that. It's too late. The damage is already done. That's it. The damage is done. You cannot repair it. It's too late. It's too late. There's no fixing it. The only solution is now is for WB to sell. Period. Period. This is what I was telling y'all, and we were saying it. You need to restore the Snyderverse. Not now, a while ago. You should have done that. You should have never reboot. But they wanted to get away from everything at Zack Snyder. We told y'all it's not going to work. And here we are. Going up for sale. Going up for sale. And now you're gonna have bidding wars. Because everybody wants WB. Because they know that once they acquire them, whoever it is, they're gonna be banking. You don't think that they're all savoring and tasting those IPs? They're like, damn, you know what I could do with the Batman IP? You know what I could do with Superman IP? With Wonder Woman IP? Just 3 characters within DC. That's money. That's money. Not only do you get money from the movies, you get money from comics, you get money from toys, you get comics from clothing brands and collaborations. The possibilities are ridiculous. Physical media, streaming. There's so many sources to bring in income. And that's what they're looking at. They're like, okay, yeah, we want that. We want this. That's what Comcast is looking at right now. I applaud Netflix, but at the same time, now, this is why, like I said, I never backed up the whole thing of sell to Netflix. Because Netflix, in the end, it's proven by now. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They just want to be like, yo, we want to make money off of it. That's it. That's it. They don't have no intentions of putting anything if they were to acquire the Snyderverse on physical media. They don't, and I'll tell you why. How come we don't have anything of Twilight of the Gods from Zack Snyder on physical media? How come we don't have Army of the Dead on physical media? How come we don't have Rebel Moon on physical media? No, they want to lock everybody on a streaming service because they want to be like, well, you know what? When it's convenient for you, bye bye, we pull the plug. Oh, we brought it back. You get what I'm saying? They force you to stay in that streaming that you'll never own. Comcast, that owns Universal, is like, yo, we just put out Jurassic World Rebirth. You want the whole Jurassic saga on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever 4K, whatever's the most IMAX biggest quality, we got you. And they put it in a big box set, a bundle, and whatever, but you have it. You actually have the physical media. That's the difference. I support and I back that up more than when it comes to what Netflix is doing. I love Netflix. I love what they're doing. I love how they're handling Zack Snyder and all that good stuff. But in the end, Netflix will also be and do when it's convenient for them the fans how they want because they're like, yo, you know what? Yeah, we're not gonna do anything else with it. Why? Because we just want to do something else. Comcast, on the other hand, is willing to invest and put that money out. We already seen it. Jurassic World, The Fast and the Furious. Yo, do I need to go far? It's so good. If it wasn't so good, how come they have the Fast and the Furious ride at the theme park? How come they have the Jurassic World ride at the theme park? They sell merchandise, they sell all these things because it sells. You imagine they end up putting, let's just speculate, that they end up buying WB and they're like, you know what? We're going to open now a section for DC and all those characters Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. All right, cool. Just like how Marvel has over at Disney. You go, when you go like I think it's downtown Disney or some area, you see Wolverine, the X-Men, you have like all these rides and stuff like that. So What do you think, that Universal doesn't want to do that the same too? Of course they do. They want to capitalize even more on it. And then they can raise the prices because, of course, everything's going to come with a cost. We're not just going to get it and it's going to stay the same. No, they're going to raise the prices. And look at what HBO Max just did. They're raising the prices. What is that telling you? What is that telling you? That it's starting to move. Money is coming. Something is happening. Things are shifting. Things are moving. The wheels are in motion. And in the end, they know they know that there's a huge demand for the Snyderverse. They're seeing it. Why the hell would Zack Snyder be putting up a picture and back to back? On Friday, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put Henry Cavill as Superman. And he didn't say Henry Cavill was Superman or this was when we were filming. He didn't talk about it as in the past. He spoke about it as in present time. Henry Cavill is Superman. Whoa, hold on. What's happening? You're trying to tell us something. You're telling me, oh, snap. You're telling me, I take it as you're low key telling me this shit's coming back. And I'm here for it. My wallet is fully open. Let's go. Let's go. Say no more. Say no more. Let's go. I want to see it and I want to buy it already. I want to pre order it right now just because I want to. See what I'm saying? That's the difference. You can't say the same thing with Netflix. Paramount, I love them. I love what they've done with Transformers and all this stuff, but they don't have the money that David Zaslav is asking. Who knows the money that he's asking for? But they got to step up their game too. 60 billions is a lot of money to turn down. But I'm sure they could counteroffer that. Raise it up a little bit more. Make something more tempting for David Zaslav not to turn it down. But then don't forget, you also have this monster, which is Comcast. Comcast has serious money. They could counteroffer and say, yo, you made that offer? Yeah, we're going to outbid you. This is what we're offering now. And that's what David Zaslav's going to be like, oh, snap. Damn, y'all not playing. Y'all really want this. All right. Okay, another counteroffer. Anybody else can step in there. It can happen. It can happen. In the end, like I said, I'm all down for streaming, physical media, and giving fan service. That's how I see it, not just stuck to one thing just because, oh, we're fighting for it and so be it and that's it. Nah. Right now, Netflix is out of the picture. I don't even want to talk about it no more. Netflix is out. They officially said it. Nah, we're not interested right now. They're focusing on their own stuff. That's it. Because they know that this is too much of a debt that they can absorb and it can hurt Netflix. Netflix has been doing what they're doing on their own, and I applaud and I respect them for that. Business wise, Netflix, they're monsters. They're monsters, and I love that. I applaud them for that because they've been able to do that on their own. They've proven us that, yo, they're not playing around, but it's working for them. That is working for them. Paramount, before the merger of Skydance, they were going downhill. They wanted to go with woke stuff. They wanted to go with agendas, all that crap. And we saw that things were tanking. Things were going down. Skydance saved them. Let's be real. Skydance saved them. And that's why they're right now afloat. And they're doing okay. And their stocks are starting to go back up and all that good stuff. They're so good that they're now going to bring in Michael Bay back to do more Transformers movies. Even if they do want to reboot, whatever the hell they want to do, who cares? Michael Bay is going to be back and he's going to be directing another Transformers. That's it. The Bayverse is restored. The same thing. Once Comcast acquires DC with WB, don't think that they're just going to sit there with their arms crossed and say, oh, okay, now we own Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. What are we going to do? Oh, we're going to continue with James Gunn and we're going to keep on doing this mess that's been costing the company money. No, they're going to fire James Gunn, period. James Gunn is out. That's it. Nobody wants to work with him. Whoever ends up buying WB, the word out there and the rumor is that nobody wants James Gunn in their company. Nobody. So accept it, James Gunn cultists. Accept it, you trolls. James Gunn's career in Hollywood is about to be done. It's about to be over. It's it. That's it. Game over. Game over. You lost. We won. And we're winning. There's no stopping us. We told you, clowns, that we would stop at nothing. And that's exactly what we're doing. We've been making noise. I am really, really, like, it's amazing. I really love how I see in every post, not just my page, but I'm talking about general, all over social media. I'm seeing it on Facebook, I'm seeing it on Instagram, I'm seeing it on YouTube, I'm seeing it on Twitter, I'm seeing it everywhere. It's nuts. How many more people are starting to use Restore the Snyderverse? People are using Restore the Snyderverse. What is that telling you? That people are believing again. People are once again excited. And I'm seeing and reading comments that people that were before that turned their back and say, you know what? Nah, I'm glad that James Gunn did what he did, are now admitting and they're saying, you know how many forums I've seen and people are like, yo, I was supporting James Gunn. I was against Zack Snyder. I wasn't a Zack Snyder bro. I'm not a Snyder bro, but I rather let Zack Snyder do and continue what he was doing compared to what James Gunn has been doing. It's obvious. It's obvious. With Zack Snyder, one picture, look at how much hype it generates on the internet. And that's one picture. You imagine he announces officially, yo, we're getting Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill. That's it. That's it. It's over. It's over. That's it. That's what these James Gunn cultists can't tolerate. They can't accept the fact that they know we're going to get Man of Steel 2. They know that we're going to get another Black Adam, and I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I get it. Black Adam was part of the Hamadaverse. Some of you might be like, that has no, you can't mix them together, this and that. Yes, the hell you can. It already happened. That's it. When The Rock brought in, however the hell he did, accept it. He brought Henry Cavill back. That's it. That's the Superman of the DCEU. Not David Cornsweet. Henry Cavill is. That's what he did. He brought Henry Cavill back, and we were going to go back to what was working. The moment that James Gunn came on board, he screwed everything up. Everything. He screwed up everything so bad that because of James Gunn, I'm sure he probably put the little seed and the doubt on David Zaslav and said, you know what? We don't need to show the people Batgirl because we're going to go a different route and we're going to reboot everything. Because, that's how James Gunn talks. And he probably, buttered up David Zaslav, and David Zaslav, dumbass, probably was like, yeah, you got a point. You know what? Let's just do a tax write-off. Oh, okay, let's do it. And that's what probably happened. But guess what? That movie's sitting in the vault. Why the hell would the director now come out and say, hey, if the fans want it, and if there's a huge demand, we could one day see Batgirl. Ooh, you know what that sounds like? Yo, it sounds like you're trying to get the Snyder fans to say, hey, release Batgirl. Just like we got release the Snyder cut. And we're fighting for release the Ayer cut. You all see a pattern? Because I see a pattern. They're just trying to tell us low-key, yo, fight for it. Fight for it. You can make it happen. Exactly. Of course we can make it happen. Because the power is in our hands. Literally. It's in our wallets. Yo, our voices are being heard and we're being seen worldwide. Period. There's no hiding it. When you have James Gunn finally admitting that he's not going to do anything with Darkseid because that's what Zack Snyder had used that he already created in Justice League, what is that telling you? He's finally acknowledging that, yeah, that's already established. And remember, I've been talking about that too. How the hell are you going to just have Darkseid and sweep him under the rug like that shit never happened? You can't. There's only one Darkseid in all the universe. Where does he fall into? Now James Gunn's coming out saying, nah, we're not even going to touch anything there. Yeah, exactly. Don't touch it. You know why? Because once the restoration of the Snyderverse returns and is back, because it will be, they're going to continue where things left off. And that has nothing to do with James Gunn. Because again, the same way that James Gunn screwed himself with the fans, with the audience, with the company, with the brand, with his own shitty cinematic universe by retconning the Justice League into the Justice Gang, you straight up ruined your own career. You did that yourself, James Gunn. You're a fool. You're a fool, and I applaud you for that. You know why? Because you made it much more easier for us. That just shows and it proves that you never had a plan. You and your followers never were real fans. You were all fake since day one. We knew it. That's just proof showing us showing the investors, the shareholders, that you have no clue what you're doing. How many times didn't I say, James Gunn, he's not worthy to run DC Studios? At the beginning, before he actually got announced, I remember this was what, probably we're in 25 now, 24, probably in late 23, when he was officially going to come into play. What were his people on his team saying? Remember, there was rumors that they were doubting the decisions and the leadership of James Gunn. If you have your own team, your own followers, your own squad, if you want to call, doubting you, and you haven't even put anything out, that's already telling you, hey, this is bad. This is bad and it's going to end bad. And look at where it's heading. The end of the DCU approaches, and it's approaching fast. Everything that has to do with Matt Reeves and his universe, that's also going to come to a stop. I'm telling you right now. Clayface will be canceled. And I'm telling you right now, if anybody, when it comes to Comcast, WB, anybody's listening and has the power and the authority, you need to cancel Clayface now, because it's going to cost you even more by filming, flying, getting the sets, doing the special effects, the CG, the actors, the actresses. The list continues. You're adding all that up. You know how you save all that? Simple. Pull the plug and say you're not going to move forward with it. It is what it is. We've waited all these years. You guys were quick to pull the plug on Batgirl that was filmed. Everybody got paid and it was going to release. And guess what? You pulled the plug and you said, nope, that's not going to see daylight, right? You need to do the same thing. Save yourself money while you still can. Nobody cares about Matt Reeves' universe, unfortunately. The numbers didn't lie. The numbers at the box office told you not everybody was interested. Yet, Zack Snyder posts a picture of Ben Affleck from behind the scenes of the Snyder Cut. And that gets more attention, more hype, more excitement than what the hell they're doing right now with DC and the DCU and whatever the hell they want to call themselves. That's telling you everything. A picture of Joe as Deathstroke has generated and circulated the whole internet, and people are excited about that. James Gunn had the opportunity to bring Joe when they had that meeting and they were eating at a restaurant, and we all saw the video, if you've seen it, and you see Joe asking him, and James Gunn straight up told him, no, like, leave me alone, like, stop asking. And that's it. But what is that telling you? Again, he had the opportunity and he blew it. James Gunn doesn't know what he's doing. He has no clue. All he knows that he's doing is costing and running up the bill in your company. You're losing millions. You're about to lose billions. Keep it up. Keep it up. You're going to lose everything. And at the rate that you're going, WB, if you keep it up, you're going to end up just like Marvel in the 90s. All of your assets are going to be sold off by parts, meaning these characters are going to go to this company, this one to the other, this one to this one to this one. It's going to be sold off in parts. Just like when Marvel in the 90s was like, well, we have to sell the X-Men, Fox bought them out. We have to sell the Hulk, Universal bought them out. And the list continues. Spider-Man, Sony bought them out. 3 different studios, but they're still your IP, but you can't do shit with them. See the difference? DC, you own all these characters. You own Batman, Joker, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, the list goes on. But you're not doing anything with those characters. The most iconic characters in the world. Think about that. These characters are more iconic than what Disney characters are with Marvel. And you have no clue what to do with them. And when you had quality, you had Zack Snyder, you had that universe, you had that timeline, you had Darkseid, you were building up, you were about to dethrone Marvel. But what did you do? Let's scrap that. We're going to go with a reboot. We're going to go with a retcon. And we're going to do the Marvel formula. Again, you screwed yourself. You screwed yourself. And that's why you're in this mess. Because you wanted to do what you wanted to do. And it literally cost you. It's simple. You need to redeem yourselves with the fans. It's already proven. Look at the numbers. Look at the statistics. Look at how much hype is being generated in the past few days, not even a week. It's less than a week. And look how many people are talking on the internet about the DCEU that you decided to pull the plug and move away from. But it still lives. People still want that. Zach is putting these pictures. The internet is talking. Everybody's talking. Good and bad. Everybody's talking. Meanwhile, James Gunn puts a post and it barely gets likes. It barely gets attention. Nobody cares about it. People are done with the DCU. People want quality again. People want the Snyderverse back. They want the DCEU. They want all that we were getting. That's what we want. That's what the people want. Not just us. That's what everybody in general wants. And the minority, which are the ones that are against it, are the ones that support James Gunn. And that minority are not making you money. They're costing you money. Think about that. They're not making you money. This whole reboot, this whole universe you wanted to go with James Gunn, all it's been doing is costing you double and triple the amount. You know who's winning in the end? It's not you, WB. It's not you because you're spending your money. James Gunn is winning right now, and I'll tell you why. Because he's milking you like a cash cow. He's taking all of your checks, he's taking all of your money, and it's always the same team that he brings on board. And what is he doing? He's playing you. He's literally playing you right before your face. And you continue to sign these checks for James Gunn, and you continue to give him what he wants. But is James Gunn delivering at the end of the deal? Is he bringing you back what he promised you? I can only imagine what all unrealistic lies he has promised you. Oh, we're gonna make $1 billion with Superman and David Cornsweet. We don't need Henry Cavill. Really? Really? Superman 2025 was a worldwide flop. Man of Steel from Zack Snyder was a worldwide success. It made money. It made money back and it made money. Superman 2025 from James Gunn was a joke. It was a disgrace. It was a disaster. It was an embarrassment. And most of all, it was a worldwide flop. Think about that. Think about that. James Gunn's Superman 2025 was a worldwide flop. And they like to brag about, oh, domestically it made these numbers. Nobody cares about domestic. People want to know worldwide. Meanwhile, when Zack Snyder's Justice League, that did not have a theatrical run, was a global phenomenon. Let that sink in. Weigh it. Weigh it. Which one has more value? James Gunn's DCU that costed you and it was a worldwide flop? Or Zack Snyder's DCEU, Snyderverse, that was with Justice League, a worldwide global phenomenon? You decide. That tells you your answer right there. You need to go back to what was working. That's why it cracks me up when people are like, oh no, the Snyderverse is not going to return. No, really. That's the same thing they said about Michael Bay and the Transformers and the Bayformers. And guess what we're getting back? That's right. We're getting the Bayformers and the Bayverse restored again. And I don't care. I don't care. Oh, but they want to go a new route and they want to do something new. It's not going to be the same thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Guess what? Guess who's at the front running the show? Who's going to be directing it? That's right. Michael Bay. So if Michael Bay is directing another Transformers movie that he hasn't been around for like, what, 8 years, 9 years? What is that telling you? That the Bayverse is back. So if Zack Snyder hasn't been back in a few years and he's the one that's going to direct, even if they want to do something new, it doesn't matter. You know what that means? That the Snyderverse is back. It's restored. Zack Snyder is back at the director's seat. That's all that matters. That's it. The same way how now we're in the Gunn era from James Gunn, that's already ending. We told you from the beginning that with James Gunn, it was DOA, dead on arrival. And look, it's already proven. Superman 2025, Superman. Think about that. Not another character. Superman, all right? A worldwide flop. I'll give you it. Domestically, you made your numbers, but that's domestic. What about worldwide? What about the streaming numbers? What about Peacemaker season 2? Oh, you're starting off this whole reboot, right? And nobody's interested. That's the difference. Yet you have Zack Snyder posting up pictures from something that happened 12 years ago with Henry Cavill as Superman. And to this day, that completely gets the internet going. See the difference? That's the big difference. You don't see that with James Gunn. With James Gunn, it's all a meme on a meme. With Zack Snyder, it's like, yo, stocks are going up, things are moving, things are selling again. These companies are putting out merchandise from that same universe. Why, if it's a dead universe, they're doing that? Because that doesn't make sense to me. Something that's dead, like James Gunn's universe, that doesn't sell. Not even in clearance. Not even at $5 it wants to sell. Meanwhile, with Zack Snyder, how come McFarlane Toys are making merchandise? How come they're making statues? How come they're making these big statues expensive, over $1,000 statues? Hot Toys putting out and re-releasing items. Why? Because it sells. That's why. Why is Warner Brothers putting out a re-release? How many times do you need the same movie in different formats? I don't care. I'm still gonna buy it. You know why? Because I support it, and they know it. Why are they doing crowdfundings with two IPs, which is Suicide Squad and Zack Snyder's Justice League and Batman vs Superman, if that's a dead universe? How come they don't do crowdfundings with James Gunn's whatever the hell he's doing? Because with Zack Snyder, it sells. With the DCEU, it sells. With James Gunn, you're going into bankruptcy. That's the difference. That's why I applaud Netflix for what they did. I applaud Netflix for saying, "Nah, we're not gonna risk it. We're not. We're just gonna focus on what we're doing, and that's it. That's how you got to do it. You have to do it. It's completely a smart business move. That's how it is. You have to. You have to look at what's gonna bring you money, and what's gonna make you money. You know, and it's telling you. That's exactly why Netflix said, "Nah, we're not gonna roll the ball on this one. They're not gonna roll the dice." And you got to give them credit for it. We already see that Paramount with Skydance, they're still interested. They're hungry. They want it. But the question is, can they match that number that David Zaslav wants? Because David Zaslav wants the highest bid, the highest offer. There's nothing against that. But it's already proven. He wants to get rid of WB. He doesn't care. He's done. David Zaslav is over. He just wants the highest amount of money so he can just chill and say, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm out of this business for good." Good, go for it. Give it to the people that actually care and are willing to spend the money. And that's where I see Comcast coming into play. If Comcast acquires WB, it's game over. It's game over, and we need that. We need that. Christopher Nolan is over at Universal. Universal is owned by Comcast. Comcast has the money. They have the drive, they have the excitement, they have the passion, they have the right people on their team, they have the money. That's the important part. They have the money. And don't think that they're not going to give customer satisfaction. Oh, yeah, they are. They are going to give customer satisfaction. And it's just taking the right number. That way, David Zaslav could say and agree and say, "You know what? That's it. Sold. I'm done." Cash in that money, baby, and go. Go. Enjoy yourself. Go play on a golf course. Go and do whatever you got to do. Enjoy yourself. Bye bye. Now, let's focus on what we want and give us what we want, because we've been fighting for a while, you know? And don't think that the studio's not going to do that. They're ready to do it. They're ready. If that rumor that's been going around that I've been telling y'all about, that I don't see a lot of people talking, I don't see a lot of people talking about this, and it's sad. But that rumor that Comcast specifically asked for David Ayer and Zack Snyder for DC alternative content exclusive for HBO Max. What is that telling you? That they're looking at options on how to bring Zack Snyder, David Ayer, releasing the Ayer cut, probably doing shows and doing Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 because they know that there's a huge demand, and going from there. The possibilities are endless. I'm telling y'all, things are changing. Things are getting good, they're getting interesting, and in the end, this is all going to happen. There's no doubt about it. This is happening. This is real time. This is happening. I'm telling you. This is it's very interesting. Yeah, I get you. This merger is our last chance of restoring the Snyderverse. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much this is it. This is the final, I guess, the end of the line, if you want to say. And we're gonna see what's gonna happen, honestly, because we already see Netflix say, nah, we're good. We're good. That's already shutting Netflix out of the picture until they want to come back and counter offer and make an offer. But until right now, yo, officially today, Netflix dropped. They're like, nah, we're not interested in buying WB. That's it. We're done. Like, they're gonna just focus on themselves. That's good. I applaud and I respect that. That's business right there. They're not. That's not personal. That's just business. They're doing what's best for their company. Bravo. That's how you got to do it. David Zaslav rejected the offer of 60 billion from Paramount Skydance. Step your game up, Paramount Skydance. I know you got the money. Stop being cheap and step your game up. Now Comcast, we know you got the money. We know you got everything. We know you're ready with the plan. We know you're coming into play in 2026, literally in 3 months, probably less than 3 months. We know you want to do something. Make a good offer. Make a good offer so David Zaslav doesn't refuse it. And most of all, David Zaslav, you need to accept an offer. You really do. You have no idea what you're doing to this industry. You have no idea. The industry has been suffering for a while, but the moment you came on board, unfortunately, you've made the industry even worse than what it is. You made your company worse than what it is. And every year it just keeps sinking more and more. At the end of the year, you get a fat ass check. That's you. But what about your team? What about the ones that are there helping you? What about us, the consumer, the customer, the fan worldwide? What about us? We put in all these hours at work or whatever it is that we do on our hustle to go out and watch a movie. And in the end, you put out slop and you're allowing James Gunn to entertain us. That's not entertaining. That's a wreckage. That's a disaster. That's not what we want. And it's already proven. Our movement, our boycotting, and everything that has to do with what we're fighting for is working. So in the end, we will get what we want, one way or the other. You should have literally included us and not reboot and turn your back on us. But you did that. And for that, you're literally paying the price in your stocks, your shares, your content, and most of all, your quality. It's costing you in the long run for being cheap. And if you keep it up and you continue to be cheap because you want the highest bid on your company, you're not in that situation. Your company is in more debt than where you're going to make profit. You can't even get out of it. That's why Netflix said, hell no, we're jumping ship. We're not even going to bother with it. Good. Because they know that financially is too much of a risk. Comcast knows what's up. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't take an offer from Comcast or Paramount Skydance, you know what's going to come next? You're going to get even lowballed from whoever's next. And then on top of that, guess what? You're going to have to sell your company in parts. And you're going to have to take the crumbs that all these other small companies are going to tell you, take it or leave it. You decide. Because in the end, you're still going down. You're not making money. You're just not. And your stubbornness and what you've done to yourself with this company and allowing James Gunn, yeah, you really did a good one on that one. It's all coming to haunt you, and you know it. You need to restore the Snyderverse, and you need to sell. Because if you don't, your whole company is going to go up for sale just like Marvel back in the 90s. And you're going to be selling parts. It's going to be like a junkyard. We're going to sell you this part, we're going to sell you that part, we're going to sell you the other part, and you're going to get whatever's coming your way. And everybody's going to give you the lowest money possible because even they know that it's like not even worth to invest anymore. So I'm telling you, don't let opportunity slip. This is the moment. You can make a change. You can make it happen. It's all on you. In the end, that's all what it comes down to, you know? Yeah, you want physical media, so Comcast or Paramount. Exactly, I agree with you. Bad Beast, what's up? Chris, what's up? Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Just seeing how these things are going and all these updates. And now you have the big people inside of Wall Street and the news, they're actually acknowledging all of this. So it's telling you this is not a joke. This is serious. This is real time we're talking about. This is straight up. This is happening, my friends. This is happening. And I get it. The James Gunn fanatics are probably like, oh, this is not going to happen. Oh, this not. You're the one that's in delusion. You need to wake up. This is reality. It's happening. This is happening. This buyout, this takeover, it's happening. David Zaslav came out yesterday and said it. Yeah, they're looking at possibilities of how they can sell because they want to make the most money. Netflix today said, nah, we don't want to gamble. We're not going to make an offer. We're focused on our own stuff. Good. That's how you got to do it. Now you have Comcast and Paramount Skydance. Who in the end is going to acquire it? Out of both of them, I don't care who. I would personally love to see Comcast just because Christopher Nolan is there and they respect more film directors and stuff like that. So they give you that freedom and whatnot. But then again, you imagine if Paramount Skydance acquires them. I would love to see the Turtles live action with Batman. I would love to see a crossover with Transformers, the Turtles, and Batman. Like the possibilities are endless. See what I'm saying? There's so much that they could do, way so much. Like it's insane. It's too much. That's just me just imagining. Um, Either or, there's there's a high demand and people want change. That's all. When it all comes down to it, we all want the best. We all want good entertainment. And in the end, we just want to have all these movies, games, physical media of whatever it is. Whether it's a comic book, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a hat, whether it's shoes, who knows what the hell we like, the merchandise, whatever, all that stuff. It's what we like. It's what we enjoy. And for these companies, either or, my wallet is open. So I'm good. I'm like, you know what? Whichever one's willing to do it and give us what we want, that's all we want. That's it. That's all we want. And don't think that once this does happen, that James Gunn has a job still with DC as DC Studios head CEO. Hell nah. Like that meme from the old man. Oh hell nah. I'm telling you right now, he doesn't. He doesn't. James Gunn knows it. James Gunn knows that his days and his fun time is over. He should have done what was right. He should have done what was right for business. And he should have just kept going with the Snyderverse and then do his reboot and do whatever the hell he wants to do for the next 10 years. But now, he's not going to get not even to the 10-year plan. That's not going to happen. It's done. It's over. Accept it. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to pull the plug on the DCU. That's it. Matt Reeves and what he's doing, they need to pull the plug on that. And I get it. Some of you might be like, no, but I like what Matt Reeves is doing. Yeah, but it hasn't been working either. Because if it was, they would have been making money. They would have been focused on it. They would have been, yeah, let's do this. Let's put it out. Let's do this. Nah. And notice how James Gunn came out and he said, I'm not sure if it came out today, yesterday, but I know it came out that he says they're not doing, meaning nobody's doing an Arkham show right now. Isn't that what Matt Reeves wanted to do? An Arkham Asylum type of show where you're going to go visit the Rogues Gallery, all these characters within Arkham Asylum. That sounds a little familiar. Who wanted to do that? Damn. It sounds like Matt Reeves was copying from Zack Snyder because that's what Zack Snyder wanted to do with Ben Affleck. He wanted to do an Arkham type show. And, like with the movie Affleck and all that before, Robert Pattinson came in and they wanted to do spin-off shows. They wanted to do spin-off shows for HBO Max with Ben Affleck while he's visiting these characters inside Arkham Asylum. Can all that still happen as DC alternative content? Meaning on the other end with Comcast? With and on exclusive on HBO Max? It can. It can be. There's a high possibility that could be. Pull the plug on James Gunn and Matt Reeves. Screw that. Go to what was working. Go to what was making. I guarantee you, the moment that they announced Man of Steel 2, That's $1 billion guaranteed. The moment they announce Ben Affleck back as Batman, and we're getting, yo, screw it. If Matt Reeves stole the title, take the title. Ben Affleck's the Batman. I guarantee you that's another $1 billion movie sitting right there. Bring in The Rock and have him face off Henry Cavill. That's $3 billion. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3, $4 and $5 billion. I'm telling you, there's money there. It can happen and it will happen. We're going to make that possible. We, the fans, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep on going until we see how everything happens and it fully develops. And I'm excited and I can't wait to be here with y'all. Straight up. Like the great Slick Rick would, hold on, I'm trying to read that, would say, the party is over. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. You felt like the story from Injustice 2 video game would have been a good live action story. Yeah, it can happen. It could still happen. I mean, anything could come from all of this. Ben Affleck's movie series, HBO Max. Yep, big time, big time. Robert Pattinson is the true Batman, said no one. Yeah, Gunn took Arkham Asylum from Matt Reeves for a DCU a long time ago. Yeah, and look at where that's led them all to. Unfortunately, this is where we are right now. But things are happening. Things are changing. They're just they're just working. They're just working probably on like contracts, negotiations, and they're looking at statistics in the sense of what's working and what do people really want. That's what I think that they're doing and stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. Nightmare's coming. Can't wait to see what he does to Joker during it. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I for sure see that happening. I see that that's coming also. Um, how did I like the Batman from Robert Pattinson? I didn't like that movie. I didn't like it. I'm not a fan of Robert Pattinson as Batman. I like his costume a little bit, but I don't like him as Batman. He's not my Batman. I'll never see him as Batman to me. I just don't see him as Batman material. The same thing with David Cornsmith. Nothing against them. It's just I don't like their style. I don't like what Matt Reeves is doing. I'm just not a fan of it. I know some people are, but I'm just not one of them, honestly. And especially the part knowing that Matt Reeves could have worked with Ben Affleck, and he literally said no. And he even read the script and he was like, "Wow, this is amazing," and he still turned it down. And he ended up stealing the title from Ben Affleck's Batman movie. That's what it was gonna be called, the Batman. So that even makes me more like, you know what? Yeah, screw Matt Reeves. I don't care about his universe. Like I just don't care. Favorite Batmobile? I want to say two. Uh, My number one now Batmobile is from Batman versus Superman, and my second one, which used to be my number one, is the one from Michael Keaton. Those are my two favorite Batmobiles. But my number one Batmobile, the Ben Affleck Batmobile. That's my favorite one. It looks like a hybrid of the one from Michael Keaton, mixed with the Tumbler. That's how I see it. Can we get a Night Falls Batman with Jean as Batman and that amazing bat suit? That would be cool. That would be cool. If they air releases behind the scenes photo from Suicide Squad this year, the air cut is 100% happening. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree with you, Bradley. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at this rate how things are going and how they're moving and stuff. Chris, I just hope that Paramount or Comcast are still interested, and also if Zaslav stop being greedy. Yeah, yeah, they're both interested. Paramount and Comcast both of them want to buy, WB. But it all falls on greedy David Zaslav. That in the end, he's the one that's gonna determine what's gonna happen. Mr. Gunn changed movies, Aquaman 2 and Flash scenes. Yeah, exactly. There's so much things that he deleted, not deleted. He just removed from the Flash. So I know there's a different version of the Flash out there on the WB vault that we still haven't seen. You see how Hollywood is now hitting on Jared Leto? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see? Yeah, that's exactly how it is, unfortunately. But again, it's just cancel culture. That's just how they roll and stuff like that. You already know how that goes and things. So, this is interesting though. Just seeing how Netflix said, "Nah, we're not gonna invest. I applaud him. I respect him for that. You know, there's no speculation. There's no nobody rumors. Nah, that co-CEO came out today. Forgot his name. That dude was not playing. He was like, "Yeah, we're not interested right now." You know, he's like, "We have our own things to be worrying about, and we're gonna try to fix on what we need to improve to make us even more money." There you go. That's how you got to do. They're doing it straight up like Mr. Krabs. They're doing it money. You know, um, and you gotta applaud them. I respect them. I respect them for that. You know, Netflix did a well played move, and they're like, "Yo, there's no speculation on our end. Ain't nobody gonna make things up that we said. Yeah, we're just not interested." Boom, that's a done deal. Good, good. Let them do them. Now let's just focus. Now, the two that are going up against is Paramount, Skydance, and Comcast. And now we're gonna have to see what's gonna come from all this. So it's down to Comcast and Paramount. Yeah, pretty much that's exactly where it's at. Suicide Squad cut have more 40 minutes of Ben Affleck's Batman scenes. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I remember David Ayer saying that there was and there's still a scene. I think I'm not sure if they ended up filming it, but with Ben Affleck's Batman versus Killer Croc, that they were supposed to be fighting in the sewer and stuff like that. So, that's in the script that leaked a while ago. So you know I'm for sure that that's out there too that got filmed. But of course, you know, WB was too scared to say, yeah, let's go ahead and put it, you know, just because how they are and stuff like that. Skydance owns Paramount. Yeah, that they ended up buying them out. I couldn't picture Netflix buying WB anyways, unless it was a DC Studios only. Yeah, exactly. That's why real talk. I know some people are probably gonna be like, "Damn, see, as you know, you never support the movement." I wasn't. I was. It's not that I wasn't supporting it. The whole sell the thing to Netflix and stuff. I just didn't see it as a business move. That was, you know, like, damn, it's only DC. Like, they're gonna want more. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know. And after today, I'm like, yo, I told y'all. I told you. That's why I wouldn't push the whole, "Oh, we'll sell it to Netflix." Why? Just because we want the Snyderverse restored? That ain't it. Like, you got to look at it as a business standpoint. You have to look at it. What are they gonna do with it? How much more can they do with it? Are they really gonna do more with it? You know. And in the long run, you got to see a company like Comcast and Paramount that, you know, that these people do want to do things with them. You know. And but again, it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, James Gunn's DCU, RIP. Big time. Big. That's coming to an end. He knows. He knows that it's coming to an end. You know. WB stops Zack from using Green Lantern, the Snyder Cut, and Gunn gives that weird ass haircut lantern. Yeah, such ridiculous. Green Lantern. What they did with that. Um, harsh critics said, hold on. Something like Supergun also flopped on HBO. Yeah, yeah, it did. It did terrible on HBO. Honestly, it did worse than Black Adam. So that tells you everything too. Yeah, James Gunn's Superman did flop on HBO Max. It tells you even more that nobody's interested and how garbage it is. Exactly. I agree with you. What if Comcast or whoever gets WB doesn't continue with Gunn or Snyder but reboot again? Also, Netflix is anti-Snyder now. Yeah, that whole thing with Netflix, exactly, because that one guy that's still there, he's against Rebel Moon, and I forgot his name, but yeah, he came out recently and said that. Um, for sure, they're not going to continue with James Gunn because they know with James Gunn it's not working. They're not making money. They're losing money. So why would you move forward with somebody like that? It's like a bad relationship. Why are you going to keep on going with it knowing that it's bad? But they know that with Zack Snyder, you know, like they're testing the waters again. This is not a coincidence. Zack posting these pictures and it's just causing more commotion among, you know, fans everywhere, and it's helping. It's working. Whatever it is that they're doing, it's working. Is it possible that Comcast can own two movie studios, WB and Universal? Yeah, yeah, that's not a problem. You know, the parent company. I mean, Comcast owns NBC. I think they own something else. Like Comcast owns also a Spanish network, Telemundo. You know that's straight up a news network. So, I mean, the same way they own news networks, they could own studios and stuff. So that's not a problem. That's not a biggie. Nothing, you know, really important and stuff. They just put their logo on it and stuff. um Nolan's role at Universal, exactly, like executive. I'm not sure exactly what Nolan is over there, but I know besides directing, I think he probably is like an executive. He's something big over there. And then his movies, I think it's gonna start filming soon. So, and I think that's coming out next year or something. So, I haven't really kept up with it, but I know that he's something big over there. So Christopher Nolan matters over there. And that's what matters. That's the important part. And don't think that he hasn't brought that up to the studio and said, "Hey, look, there's still a huge demand for it." There for sure, looking at all that and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens and stuff like that. But with that, I want to let y'all go, my friends. Thank y'all for watching, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.